Imagine this. It's 2015, you're back in college, and you're playing some of the most critically acclaimed games launched that year. Games like The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, Bloodborne, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and others. These are games about big, strong men doing big, strong men things, hunting monsters, defeating elder gods, and stopping terrorists from committing a global linguistic genocide. Now what if I came to you at that moment and told you that in 10 years' time, you'd be going crazy over horse girls? Welcome to Uma Musume, the gacha game created by Cygames that took the internet by storm. This game is by no means new. It was originally launched in February 2021 in Japan, but only released in the West in June 2025. Ever since then, my feed has been absolutely flooded with people's experience playing the game, comics, fan art, and memes galore. It is absolutely astounding how well this game was received, considering it has neither the allure of a spectacular combat system nor does it have some sort of awe-inspiring story to grab your attention.
I've sent my right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off?
The premise of Uma Musume is pretty simple. In an alternate world much like ours, famous racehorses from history are reincarnated into horse girls. That's pretty much what Uma Musume means, where Uma means horse and Musume can mean girl or daughter, depending on the context. They inherit pretty much everything from a racehorse, like their personality and racing talents, and they're sent to attend the prestigious academy called Tracing Academy, where they are trained to become fearsome and competitive runners. In this world, there are no actual horses, just horse girls, and apparently this is a natural fact of life. Nobody questions why horse girls exist, they just do and are accepted as such. You are a trainer in this world, and shock of all shocks, for the first time in God knows how long, we have a gacha protagonist that doesn't suffer from amnesia. Your purpose here is literally to just pick one horse girl and train her to the best of your ability so that she can achieve her goals and dreams. Now, when I picked this game up, I expected to just put 3 or 4 hours into it and drop it, as I didn't think anything Uma Musume offered would be of any interest to me. It was a nice little game about horse girls racing, and yeah, it seems funny and silly enough to just give it a shot for a bit and move on. But now, this game is the main reason why I go to bed at 3 AM in the morning. How? How do you get me to become this invested in a silly game about horse girls? There's no combat, no great story arc where the fate of the world rests on your shoulders, so why is this game keeping me glued to the screen? I guess the best way to make you understand is to explain the game a little bit. The main game mode is called Career, where you take a horse girl and train her from the ground up over a period of 3 years. Throughout this career, there are certain objectives that you must fulfill in a certain amount of time. Failing any of these will end the career prematurely. When you begin a career, you pick one horse girl to serve as the trainee, 2 other horse girls to serve as her parents and have them pass down some of their skills, and a deck of support cards to help with training. The trainee and support cards all have a list of random events that could trigger throughout your 3-year career, and each random event has its own set of stats or abilities that they can bestow upon the trainee. Training is done by selecting from 5 options, those being speed, stamina, power, guts, and wit. Each of these stats have their reason for existing, with speed being the most important for obvious reasons. Stamina keeps you from running out of breath on longer tracks. Power is pretty much acceleration and allows your Uma to bypass other runners. Guts comes into play when you run out of stamina, dampening the impact on your speed. And wit allows you to trigger skills more often. And speaking of skills, some random events will unlock skills for you to learn, but you'll have to pick only those that directly serve your Uma, as there are many skills that don't fit their running style. For example, your horse girl could do very well as a frontrunner, but not that well as an end closer. Investing in end closer abilities is not a good investment of your skill points. You're on a time limit though, so you need to make sure you choose the best training for your Uma's goals, otherwise she won't be able to fulfill them. Once training is over and a major race comes up, the result is entirely out of your hands. All you can do before the race is choose a race strategy like frontrunner, pace chaser, late surger, or end closer. You just have to trust that the training you put your horse girl through will see her to victory. If she wins, then you'll get to see your Uma in a live concert performance, and there are a lot of these with more to come in the future. It's actually impressive that they've had so many voice actors record these songs, especially knowing that there are about 130 unique concerts in the JP version of the game. In short, Career is a roguelike mode where the stats, skills, buffs, and debuffs you get are pretty much random, and sometimes you just have to do the best you can when given a bad hand. The random events I've mentioned earlier also have their own little stories that you can read in a visual novel style, which will let you learn more about the girls. But Uma Musume has other races besides career mode. There are daily races where you farm for money and support coins, legend races where you can get star pieces of certain characters, and team races where you pit your horse girls against other players to increase your rank and get premium currency as rewards. Yes, this game has PvP, hold on to your hats. The entire point of going through a career is creating a horse girl with great stats and skills that can be used in these races. Eventually, you'll have multiple copies of the same horse with different grades to represent their strength. The problem with this though is that a full career playthrough can take around 3 hours to complete if you read everything and watch every race. If you decide to skip, however, that can be shortened and the time will depend on how fast you make decisions on training and skill selection. Even with the skip, this will take quite a lot of time investment due to the fact that you've got enough stamina in a day to do 5 careers. If you're trying to min-max your horse production, then you'll be looking at putting in around 3 hours a day, and that's only if one career playthrough lasts around 35 minutes. There's a lot of depth to this game, like picking parents that have good affinity with each other, allowing the trainee to inherit better stats and skills. There's also sparks to take into account that boost the horse girl's stats at the start of a career, as well as during the 2 inspiration events. If you're not careful, you can go so far down this rabbit hole that you'll burn out on the amount of things you need to take into account when training your horse girls. And I'm not even kidding with this. There unironically is a 230-page Google Doc you can find that goes into autistic detail on how the game works. It's a veritable treasure trove of knowledge for any beginner looking to perfect their training methods, but again, be careful of burning out. Since this video is coming out about a month after the game's release, I'm sure most of you know, but let me still give you a quick rundown. The gacha aspect revolves around pulling for horse girls and support cards. Support cards are arguably more important than pulling for the actual horse girls, since these cards will make it much easier to max out stats during training. If you have good support cards, you can take any Uma and get her to win her career. Their ratings are, from lowest to highest, R, SR, and SSR. Getting copies of the same support card will allow you to limit break the card up to a maximum of 4 times, increasing its effects. The horse girls, on the other hand, are split into 1, 2, and 3 stars, and getting more copies of the character will give you star pieces to help you advance them to 4 and 5 stars respectively. Besides this advancement, horse girls can have their potential increased if you have the required materials, which will give them access to new skills that they can learn in career mode. Obligatory break for me to ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. So after going through these career events a few times with different girls, I finally get it. I understand why I'm so glued to the screen. It's because you end up getting attached to this girl who wants nothing more than to give her best and run to achieve her dreams, and you're right there beside her, helping her, and somewhere along the way, her dreams become your own. Basically, this game turns their players into mothers and fathers who love their horse stars beyond reproach. And that's why the community has taken such a shine to this game, because they're not playing for themselves, they're playing for the sake of their daughters. Okay, but how do players even get to this point of emotional investment? What's so different about Uma Musume when compared to the Big Four? I actually struggled coming up with an answer to this question. Why am I more emotionally invested in Haru Urara than I am in, say, someone like Chang Li from Wuthering Waves? They're both characters I've spent time with in their respective game stories, so what makes up the difference? Eventually, I think I came to an accurate conclusion. The reason I'm more invested in Haru Urara and other horse girls over characters from the Big Four is that you get to spend a lengthy amount of time with these characters and see them in different emotional states. You can see them when they're happy or sad. You can see them when they're struggling with their own inadequacy. You get to see them be nice or selfish. And the thing that brings out all of these emotional states is the existence of a constant, ever-looming threat of failure and defeat. Your girls can and will lose, something that doesn't happen in the stories of the Big Four, where most stories either end in the overall victory of the MC or return to the status quo without the MC suffering a total defeat. One example is Rover's fight against Fleur de Lis, where he gets imprisoned in a bubble of sorts and is supposedly saved by Cartathea, who shatters the prison. Once freed, Rover is able to defeat Fleur de Lis, and with Imperator's sacrifice, Cartathea is brought back to life. That is an overall victory for the Rover. Compare that with the story of Majora Zero McQueen, where in an attempt to be a good friend to Rice Shower and cheer her up after being booed by the crowd for winning, she puts her own win at risk by asking the trainer to sign up Rice Shower for the same race McQueen will be participating in. This isn't just any race for McQueen either. It's arguably the most important race of her life, as winning this will make her a 3-time consecutive winner of that race. What you need to know about Umas is that nothing is more important to them than running and winning. It's an instinctual joy and desire they all share. The race comes up and both of them fight for first place like their lives depended on it, but Rice Shower takes the win in the end. While genuinely happy for her friend, McQueen is left to deal with this crushing defeat and is understandably frustrated and unhappy with the result. While Rice Shower took home the win, the consequences of McQueen's request are direct and palpable and are put front and center for you to see. Or in the case of Haru Urara, who is a horse girl that loves running but has never actually won a race, the real life score being around 113 races, of which 0 have been wins. Her strong points are running on dirt tracks and in sprint races, but the final objective in her career is running the Arimakinen, a turf racetrack designed for long races. And every single time, she'll come in last place because she just can't keep up. And even though she's portrayed as this happy-go-lucky character who is always in a good mood no matter what, even though she's always having the time of her life when she's running, she still has the wish to be able to compete with the other runners and is frustrated to tears by her loss. These moments of defeat can be good for storytelling and can make players that much more attached to a character, which is proven by the insane amount of love and support Haru Urara has gotten online. Some fans are drawing all sorts of fan art of Haru, from racing by putting her life on the line, to her just being happy for coming in 5th place, while others have made it their life's mission to train her and get her the first place in the Arimakinen, which, if you understand how the game works, raising Urara's stats to that level of performance will take a long time, a lot of breeding, and a lot of careers. And speaking of fans becoming attached to Haru, she became so popular that the real-life Haru Urara has been getting a lot of love and attention too. Fans and trainers have been so supportive that they broke the website where you could donate a $40 gift box of ryegrass due to the absurd amount of requests. Both the real and Uma Musume version of Haru Urara have become a symbol of never giving up, of persevering no matter the circumstances, affectionately known as the shining star of losers everywhere. And that's why a lot of people will be happy to hear that Haru Urara has been able to finally win her first race in 2019, 15 years after her retirement in a friendly time trial event. After 113 losses, she finally got to win. So if you've ever asked yourself, what's the point? Why should I keep doing this? Why don't I just give up? The answer is simple, because she never did. And this is just one of many horses available in the game, all of which have their own stories to share, some being more tragic than others, as is the case of Rice Shower. Read up on it at your own discretion though, especially if you're attached to the endgame character. It's rather grim. Oh, and I did want to make a short note as I played through a career with Sakura Bakushin-O for the sake of getting footage for this video. I love this idiot speed demon so much because her head is just empty all the time. No thoughts, only Bakushin 24/7. And it's why I have mixed feelings about her career story and how the trainer in that story gaslights her non-stop in every way possible. Sure, we're doing it with the best of intentions, as Bakushin is a sprinter who's at her strongest on short tracks, but her dream is to race in medium to long tracks. For 90% of the career, all we're doing besides training her is finding new ways to trick her into entering sprint races. Now, since a lot of this game's lore is based on real-world racehorses, some rumors have popped up regarding the Yakuza's involvement in the Japanese racing scene and consequently in Uma Musume as well. Supposedly, because of the Yakuza's involvement with certain racehorses, there has been a strict guideline regarding fanworks that depict the horse girls in a, oh my god, harmful way. Basically, it is an official request to the fans to not make NSFW content with these horse girls, because the last thing you'd want as the owner of one of these racehorses is to have potential bettors and investors look up your horse online, and right there next to a picture of the real life horse, you see the Uma Musume version in a compromising position. Now, the Japanese audience has largely adhered to this guideline, though there have been some exceptions. But now that the game went global to an audience that may or may not hold any regard for these guidelines, what exactly do you think happened? Well, to put it simply, the floodgates have been pretty much opened. It's the Wild West out there, and I'm pretty sure that if there's ever a timeline where Japan takes over the world, it's the one where the Yakuza goes to work to protect their horse girls. So, is that it? Only good things. Is Uma Musume healing and uniting the world under the banner of horse girls? Well, yeah, kinda. The biggest downside for me is the time investment though. But overall, the game is fun and addictive. I always end up playing at night thinking, alright, I'll just finish this training session and I'll head to bed. Then the race comes up and it's, I'll go to bed after the race, and so on and so forth. It's always just a case of one more with this game. I'll just train her one more time. I'll just do one more race until you realize you've completed 3 career playthroughs and it's 3 AM in the goddamn morning. Should you play this game? Yes, give it a try, if only just so you can see and get a feel for why everyone is losing their minds over this goddamn game and why you see these girls everywhere. But that's gonna be it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and a sub and let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on Uma Musume and if you found your daughter that you'd give anything to support. I'm eager to see what everyone's thoughts are on the matter, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, have a good one.